Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Meditation Mama, and normally I would be posting my Law of Attraction videos on Mondays for Manifesting Mondays, but this episode is kind of a special episode. Now, the reason why I'm posting this video on Black Friday is because Black Friday is the 1 year anniversary of when this all happened. And if you saw the title of this video, which is why I'm sure you clicked on the video, the title is called How I Use the Law of Attraction to Help My Paralyzed Dog Walk. Now, this is my dog, Ducky. You can't see her that well, so I do apologize. She's kind of sleeping right now. But she is a 5-year-old Pit Bull American Bulldog mix, and her full name is Ducky McLovemuffin, and yes, she is 100% Love Muffin. And if you want to follow her on Instagram, it's Ducky McLovemuffin, all one word. So I thought I would just tell you the whole story, how this all happened, how I use the law of attraction to help my paralyzed dog walk, and then I wanted to show you some before and after pictures and videos, and then kind of show you like a progress video on how she is right now. This is Ducky. We rescued her as a tiny little puppy. Ever since Ducky came into our house, she has been a bundle of love and joy. She is the happiest, most spoiled dog you will ever meet. Within these 5 years, Ducky grew up into a 65-pound love muffin. Ducky always is super active. She always goes on hikes, goes to the park, goes to the beach, the dog park, pretty much every single day. So when I say she's an active dog, I mean she's a really active dog. So last year, the day after Thanksgiving, Black Friday, I was in the kitchen actually about to make cookies. And if anyone has a large dog, or I don't know, maybe even small dogs do this, but if you have a large dog that does zoomies, you'll know exactly what this is. But if your dog doesn't do zoomies and you have no idea what it is, they basically just run really fast back and forth. And my dog used to love to run into our TV room and then run into our living room, jump on the couch, and then kind of do like a big figure eight. And she would do that all the time. So when I was in the kitchen that day, I really didn't think anything of it. I really wasn't even paying attention to her because she used to do that all the time. But then as I was, getting ready to make the cookies, Ducky kind of ran past me. I heard like a thump and then just blood curdling, screaming and crying coming from my dog. So when I ran around the corner, I looked at her, and for a second, I kind of thought that she broke both of her back legs. And this is all happening really fast, and I'm like looking at her and I'm like, how could she possibly break her back legs? But then I very quickly realized that she did not break her back legs, that she couldn't even move her back legs. It was like that, gone. And so I just like immediately started to panic. I didn't know what to do. My boyfriend and I were freaking out. She was freaking out. She was screaming and crying. I think she went into shock because she didn't know what was going on. We immediately picked her up, put her in the car, and rushed over to our vet. So when we arrived at our vet, they kind of took one look at her, could tell something was seriously wrong, and they said, you need to get back in your car and immediately go to Access in Woodland Hills, which is like the specialty surgery place for animals in the San Fernando Valley. They're like, get in your car, go over there as fast as you can. We'll call them, we'll let them know that you're on your way. So we put her back in the car and we rush her over to Access in Woodland Hills. So we bring her into Access and they take a look at her and they say, you know what? We really don't know what happened to your dog. We are going to have to do an MRI on your dog because one of two things could have happened. She either could have ran like head first into the couch or jumped and missed the couch and shattered one of her vertebrae. And if that happened, the only way she would ever walk again is if she had emergency surgery to fix the shattered disc in her spine. Or they said it could have been like a seizure or something like that, but they wouldn't be able to know anything without an MRI. Now, we do definitely have pet insurance, but our pet insurance is through our vet and it doesn't cover MRIs. So we had to pay $3,800 for an MRI just to see what was going on with our dog. So then we decided to do the MRI. They took our dog back and basically told us to go home. So my boyfriend and I went home and we were like freaking out. We didn't know what we were going to do. We didn't even know when we were going to see our dog again. But then a couple hours later, Access called us and they're like, you can come and get your dog. And we were kind of surprised at first because of how bad the injury was. And when they called us, we thought that it was like, okay, like they knew exactly what happened. It's totally fixable and it was like good news. So we go back over to Access. Now, when we got back over to Access, this was like 8 o'clock at night. They made us wait in their waiting room for an hour and a half. So by the time we got into the examination room, there were no doctors on staff, only nurses. So the nurse practitioner comes in, hands me a shopping bag, like a grocery bag, full of paperwork and a sling. And he says, so your dog is paralyzed and can't walk. You're going to have to use this sling to get her around. And since your dog is now paralyzed from the waist down, she's not going to be able to urinate on her own or defecate on her own. So you're going to have to do that for her. And you can find the link to the YouTube video on how to do that in this bag. And I was shocked. I was like, wait a second. You're telling me that I have to now like urinate and defecate my dog, and the only way you're going to show me how to do this is by providing me with a link to a YouTube video? I was pissed. Not to mention, he also told me that if I couldn't do it myself, I would have to bring her back to Access every single day because if she didn't urinate every single day, she would get an infection and die. So I was in shock at how insensitive and horrible this place was regarding my dog, especially after we had just spent almost $4,000 a couple hours earlier. I was just in shock how bad their bedside manner was and just how cruel and insensitive they really were to us. Now, the last thing the nurse practitioner mentioned to us was that um, since she had just had an extensive injury, um, they didn't want her like moving around. Oh, also, I forgot to tell you, they got the MRI results back that same day and they found absolutely nothing on the MRI. There was no shattered disc, no nothing. And the craziest part was they still wanted us to do emergency surgery on her back anyways. I was in complete shock of. Like, if you can't show me something on an MRI, why am I going to open up my dog's spine and do a surgery that's completely unnecessary? So I have a whole lot of complaints about this place called Access. But anyways, so the last thing this guy said to us was that if you have a crate at home, put her in the crate and leave her there. Do not let her, move around because she could injure herself because she can't feel anything from the waist down. So Ducky doesn't sleep in a crate. She actually sleeps in my bed. So when we got her home that night, I don't even know what time it was, 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, we were exhausted. We ended up pulling the crate into our room. It's actually a really big crate because she's a big dog. But we pulled the crate into our room, and I actually put some cushions on the floor, and I was going to sleep next to her because, like I said, she sleeps in our bed. She doesn't sleep on the floor or anything like that. So we were getting ready to go to sleep, and she started crying. And we didn't know what to do. We didn't know what the crying meant because she doesn't cry like that ever. And then my boyfriend was like, you know what? She wants to sleep on her bed. She doesn't want to sleep in the crate. Let's put her on her bed. I was kind of against doing this, but I was like, you know what? Let's just put her on our bed. That's where she's comfortable. So then we tried to get her out of the crate. Now, if you have a really large dog that you cannot pick up with one arm and they are paralyzed, I would not suggest putting them in a crate because it is almost impossible to get them out of the crate. Like, how do you get a 65-pound dog out of a crate that can't walk? So I literally had to like climb into the crate to try and get her out. And when I finally got her up, I put my arm under her hind end and lifted up. And when I did that, she peed everywhere. She peed all over the crate, all over me, on the side of our bed, I mean everywhere. So I very quickly learned how to help her pee. So I got that very fast, thank God. So the next few days, we really just kind of had to relearn all of her noises and sounds and stuff like that when she felt like she had to pee. And we got really, really good at using doggy diapers and pee pads and all that kind of stuff. Now, since Ducky is like super active and she's not the kind of dog that can just like sit still, we didn't want to put her in a crate. So luckily we have like this really long chaise lounge in our living room. And so we just took the long cushion off of the chaise lounge and we put her on the floor in our TV room. And then we put pillows all around it, and that's basically where she lived for 2.5 months. She lived on that chaise lounge pad in our living room. So now let's talk about the law of attraction steps that I used to help Ducky walk again. Number 1, contrast happened, which forced me and Ducky to ask for something different. So the contrast here was Ducky's injury and not being able to walk. So I think that contrast not only forced me to ask, but I think it also forced her to ask as well. Number 2, when you ask, source answers. When you ask for something, source answers. But when source answers, it's not something that you can hear. When source answers, basically, source puts what you're manifesting into your vortex. Boom, it's there. The next step is you have to align with it. When you can align with what you're trying to manifest, that's how you can bring it into your reality. So step number 3, you align with what you've asked for. To align with what you're asking for, you must put yourself in a positive state of emotion. Now, this is a hard step. And for me, the only way I can have that, bring in that positive emotion is with meditation. Now, what I would do is I would get up super early in the morning because I wake up super early anyways, but I would wake up at like 5 o'clock in the morning every single morning. And I would meditate for almost an hour. And the meditations that I would do are Dr. Joe Dispenza's meditations. I'm a member of Mind Valley, so I do the Mind Valley meditations. And then there's also some Burt Goldman meditations that I really like as well. Now, when I meditate, I visualize my favorite place to go with Ducky, and that is the beach. So what I would do when I was meditating is I would actually sit with Ducky. So she would be sitting right next to me when I would meditate. And when I would do these meditations, I would go to the beach in the meditation. So I would see it just like it was happening in real life. I would picture Ducky and us walking down the cement stairs of the beach access point that I like, getting down into the sand, feeling the sand in between my toes, kicking off my flip-flops. I would take off Ducky's leash, and then we'd be off. And we would be running down the beach, having fun, jumping into the waves. And one of Ducky's favorite things to do is to run into the waves, run out of the waves, and come and jump all over me and get sand all over me and get me all wet. And so when I was doing my visualizations and meditations, I would always picture this with her because it's like one of my happiest memories with her. And pretty much like almost every single time I would do this, I would get so emotional that I would start crying. And I probably did this every single morning for about a month and a half. Step number 4, maintain your positive state of emotion. Now, this step I found to be the hardest thing for me because when you open your eyes from meditating and you're back in your reality, sometimes it's really hard to stay in that positive emotion state. But really, I think that's one of the biggest keys is keeping that super positive, high emotional state, you know? So anytime I would find myself coming out of that super positive state, I would very quickly go and meditate and bring myself right back. And luckily, the office that I was working at that time um, had a meditation room and they actually encouraged their employees to go meditate. So I put that room to use a lot. Having the belief that your manifestation is possible is really the final key. Because if you get through all of those steps and you do the visualization and the positive emotion, but you don't believe it's actually possible, then how is it going to show up in your reality? You have to believe that it's possible for your manifestation to manifest. Step 6, allow by not creating resistance and let go. So for me, about a month and a half after, doing all of those steps, life kind of came back and work and deadlines and taking care of Ducky. And I think that was a really good thing for me because it took my mind off of everything and just allowed me to let it go. Now, it was about, I'd say, 2.5 months after Ducky's injury. I was sitting in the TV room watching TV, and of course, Ducky was sitting on the floor next to me, but she was asleep. And in her sleep, she started having a dream. And I don't know if she was running in her dream or what she was doing, but I looked down and I saw her tail do this. And I hadn't seen her tail move in so long. And when I saw her tail move in her sleep, I knew that it was possible for her legs to move when she was awake. And just seeing that little fleck of movement gave me such a strong belief that I knew it was possible that she was going to walk again. Now, about 3 months after Ducky's injury, she actually got up and started walking again. And right now, to this day, she is mobile, she is walking, she is not paralyzed anymore. Now, I will be honest with you and say that she is not back to normal by any means. She is not 100% of her old self. We do physical therapy exercises with her all the time. Luckily, we have a pool in our backyard, so during the summer, we would put a life vest on her, put her in the pool, and make her do laps to get her legs stronger. Again, she is a very active dog, so of course she loves to go on hikes and stuff like that, but her back end is still really, really weak. So she can't really jump anymore. Like she can't jump up on the couch and she can't jump up on my bed anymore. Another thing is that since all of this happened with her back end, um, I say that she doesn't really have any brakes. So for example, when we're going down hills or when we go downstairs, you kind of just have to get out of her way. She's like a freight train hauling butt down those stairs. She doesn't really have any brakes to stop back there anymore. And then, going upstairs is still a little challenging for her. She gets a little discouraged sometimes when she has to go up a lot of stairs. So I definitely help her out with that. The other thing is that when she goes to the bathroom now, like when she pees, when she squats to pee, she actually bounces. And so when she bounces, she usually bounces in her pee and gets it all over her. So pretty much every time she goes to the bathroom, I have to like give her like a little mini bath. With all of that said and done, I'm so unbelievably happy and grateful just to have my baby mobile and walking and just, living life again. So this is Ducky's canine cart. Now, the one suggestion I will definitely make is, you see, oh, can you move your thumb? See the little button that says this side up? Yeah, we originally did not see that, so we assembled it upside down. So definitely look for that sticker. Make sure you put the wheels in right side up, but how you do it is really easy. You basically just take these little black things off. You slide the leg in, you put the black thing on top to stop it, and then you use your Allen key to tighten it up to whatever height that your dog needs. These little bars, they actually like slide in and out, so that adjusts for your dog too. And then when you go to put your dog in, you put the legs in here. Now, if your dog has legs that actually work, then you don't need these. If your dog can actually use her legs and she just needs this for assistance, you just put the legs in here. But for Ducky, since she still doesn't have control over her legs will go in here and kind of lie out the back off the ground so they're not touching the ground. And then the chest goes here, and then you just put this clip over, okay? So now we'll put Ducky in the cart and we'll show you what it looks like.
As soon as you said her name, her ears went back and she was like, oh.
Hi, baby! Hi!
Look at all these people.
Hi, baby girl! Hi! Hi!
Oh, she hasn't lost a step.
I love you. You're such a good baby girl. You're such a good baby girl.
Goof, dude. It's her first.
This is
two people were asking me
Ducky's
about
cart. Okay. Oh, she's so excited. Oh, here comes running and giving me a flat tire. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go.
Put it down. Go. Okay, good. Good, baby. Get it. Walk, baby.
Yeah! She did it! Go on, baby.
Oh, please keep away. I love it.
It's okay. Go on, you can do it.
Come on, let's
Okay.
go. That was enough? That's enough. Thank you.
Go on, baby. Good girl. Good girl, baby.